I want to show you some pretty cool Native American style flutes that I made. I hope you stick around and watch it. Coming right up. Hello everybody, and thanks for coming back for another video. This is Dave and I'm glad you're with me. Out here in the shop today, thought I'd show you a little something different. Some Native American style flutes that I made a number of years ago. I played around with some different designs. I did a little research on YouTube and on the internet, and I found some different plans that people were doing. I found one that I really liked, and it was a gentleman that was making them out of PVC pipe. And here's an example of one. I've made a number of these, and everyone's a little bit different. I use my PVC dye, my Recca oil dye. You can look back through my playlist and you can find videos where I've used this oil before, this Recca oil dye before. This one I kind of carved out a bird, put some eyes on it and stuff for the bird. And then this one has a bamboo mouthpiece that's removable. And I had a jig. I no longer have it because I don't make these anymore. These are just a few that I kept for myself. But I had a jig that I made so that I could make them a lot quicker. And it was just made out of scraps of wood, and you slipped it in there and it had the lines exactly where to put the holes and everything. I can't remember what key these are. I think it might be E, but I'm not sure. Everyone has a little bit different sound to it. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about how I made these, and they're real easy and they're fun to make. I use corks. If you can get a hold of the rubber type wine corks, those work really well because you can sand them down real easy to the size you need to fit in here. But there's basically two holes here, and I've made them a couple of different ways. There's the air kicking on. I apologize. It's kind of humid this morning. I'll take this one apart because I really don't remember how I made this one. So this one here, I mortised out a channel right here for the air to flow across between these two holes. And you can't see it really, but in between these two holes right here, there's a piece of cork or a piece of rubber or whatever I used in this case. I just shape it down to the size where it fits in there snug. And in some cases, I glue the corks in place. In some cases, it fits so snug, I don't bother. And then, like I said, everyone's a little bit different in its look and its sound, really. This one is 1/2-inch PVC pipe, and it's the thin-walled stuff. And I've played around with different PVCs. Here's another one I made out of 3/4-inch PVC. And I just have a cedar block for the bird on this one. Very simple. And this one also has a bamboo mouthpiece that I made that fits in there nice and securely. And let's see what this one sounds like. You can tell this one has a little bit of a lower tone to it. And I used a couple of different colored dyes on this one. I used like an orange color, and then I just went over it with some black randomly around it to create that pattern. And I'll take this one apart. I'll put these back together later off camera. I'll take this one apart to shake, because I think this one I did it a little bit differently. I can get it apart here, loosen it up. There we go. Yes, so this one here, instead of mortising out like I did on this one underneath the bird to create that channel for the air to flow across, this one I just sanded it down to create it. These holes have to be angled when you drill these holes, you have to angle them a little bit. This isn't really a how-to step-by-step on how to make one of these. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that show you exactly how to make them. I just wanted to show you the different styles that I came up with playing around making these, to show that you don't have to do it just one particular way, and you can make them look, you know, however you want. Here's another one I made, and this one might be the same, it might be a little bit different, I'm not sure. And this is also 3/4 inch PVC. And first off, we'll see how this one sounds. This one seems a lot louder and less windy, and it's all really in right here in this part. And if you see, my hole right here is a lot bigger on this one, so that's what creates that different sound. And let me get this one apart. This one here I've turned a walnut mouthpiece for, out of walnut, bored a hole through it for the mouthpiece on this one. And let me get this one apart. So very similar to the other one where I just sanded it down for that air to flow underneath the bird from one hole to the other, but these holes are a lot bigger. They're still angled like in this other one. Here's a side-by-side comparison. You can see they're still angled, but they're quite a bit bigger, so it creates quite a bit different sound. I actually like the tone of this one better. And then last up to show you, I won't make this video too long, here's one I made out of bamboo. And there again, I just used a block of cedar here, and then I turned a walnut mouthpiece on this one. This one's really in there. It does come out, but it's oh yeah, I glued a little piece of rubber on the end of this mouthpiece so that it would fit in there tighter. That's why it was pretty tough to get out. But there again, it looks like I went with some kind of squared off holes on this one. Now let's see what this one sounds like. I think this one's real windy sounding. Let's see. Yeah. And you got to play around with these and get the bird adjusted just right. Sometimes you'll have it right there and you won't get any sound out of it all, and you just move it back a 1/16 of an inch and you get the sound. You got to kind of fiddle with them a little bit, and then once you get them in place, you know, just make your, however you're attaching it, really tight. But anyway, there's one just to show you can make them out of bamboo too. It doesn't have to just be PVC pipe. Another method I did, I don't have an example in front of me to show you, but I actually another style I made, rather than mortising it out like I did in this one, this little channel right here, I took a piece of thin rubber and I just cut a slot in it and I glued it on the bottom. And it does two things. It speeds up. You don't have to do any mortising. You can just take scissors, cut the piece of rubber out, and then just use some adhesive to glue it on the bottom. Yeah, the rubber I used, it was pretty thin. It was less than 3 millimeters, maybe 2 millimeters thick or 1 millimeter thick, something like that. It wasn't very thick at all. Like here's some G10 material. That rubber was about the thickness of this right here, so whatever this is. But yeah, in addition to it being easier to construct with gluing rubber on the bottom, it also gives it a really nice secure footprint so that that rubber doesn't let it slide around on the PVC pipe, because PVC pipe is pretty slick, you know, and it won't slide around as easy. You don't have to really tighten down on your leather or whatever you're using to tie it down in place. That's a look at my homemade Native American style flutes. Hopefully this video inspires you to go out and make your own, make them with your kids, your grandkids, or make them for yourself. In my case, I made them to sell at craft shows. So I still have a number of these that I made years ago that I take to craft shows to sell. But they're a lot of fun. Join me in the next video. You never know what you're going to see on this channel. I appreciate everybody watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that really helps me out, and I do really appreciate it. This is Dave. See you in the next one.